All right, so we're going to get started on our backs. Have your inflatable ball handy and have a block handy, just to the side. We're not going to use them yet. We're just going to start off with knees bent, lying on your back, and we'll focus on some diaphragm breaths. So first, just do a scan of the body, maybe comparing left and right. Noticing how they connect to the floor, and maybe even shimmying your shoulders. It can be interesting to notice that as you lie on the floor, maybe one shoulder's a little bit higher than the other. And then travel down your torso and notice the back of the ribs. And then notice the hips. This is another area where you may notice that both hips don't connect to the back of the floor equally. You may want to press into your feet slightly to lift your hips just enough to lengthen the tailbone and then lower it back down. Now notice the connection of the feet to the floor, the alignment there. Adjust them so the weight's even and that both feet are facing straight forward. You can let your hands just rest on your lower abdomen. As you breathe in, allow the breath to fill up the belly and then the ribs. And then exhale, ribs, and then belly. One more time before we add on. Breathe in belly and ribs. Exhale, ribs and belly. Breathe in belly, ribs, hold the breath. Exhale, ribs, belly, hold the breath out. And now imagine the visual of the diaphragm that's down in the belly. You want to zip it up underneath the ribs. So it's like a parachute. This is all while holding your exhale until you don't feel comfortable. And then let the breath in. Belly, ribs, hold the breath. Exhale, ribs, belly. And then there's that zipping up of the breath underneath the rib cage. Breathe in belly, ribs, holds the breath. Exhale, ribs, belly, zip the breath under the ribs. And then just return to your natural breath. All right, now we're going to roll onto our left side. You can use your block as a pillow. Now the ball, the inflatable ball, is going to go, you're going to try to slide any layers of fat to the side. So the psoas attaches to your spine. So you're trying to get underneath any layers. So this is just right. It's right on top of the hip bone and then sliding inside. And if it's in the wrong place, there's no harm. It's just there'll be, it'll be less effective. And then allow the belly to drape over. And I've got my knees bent and my left arm is just in a comfortable position. We're going to repeat that breath. Breathe in belly, ribs. Exhale, ribs, belly. Hold the breath out. And then imagine you're zipping up. You're drawing that diaphragm under the ribs. Exhale, soften. And so maybe you notice that as you exhaled, the ball is able to get deeper into the spine, closer to the spine. So we're going to just do that 2 more times. Breathe in belly, ribs. Hold the breath. Exhale. Exhale completely. Zip up the diaphragm. When you need to breathe, let the breath come in. Belly, ribs. Hold the breath. Exhale out. Hold the exhale. And then release. All right, now we're going to combine this with a little shoulder work. So your top arm, you're just going to stretch it beyond the fingertips. Now you may notice the ball is rolling along the side of your waist. So again, we're trying to get into that psoas muscle from the side. Just working on the fascia. Stay with this or do those arm circles. We've done these before, but now we've got the ball. So we're getting a little fascia release along the side body. So just 3 times around. And then we'll pause. All right, now we're going to just gently roll to the other side. I'm going to just take a moment. Maybe notice anything there is to notice after rolling that out. And then same thing. You're going to slide that ball just above the hip towards the front of the body and see if you can drape your flesh over it. So this is something that, you know, the more you do this, the more you get accustomed to where that right spot is. And then we'll do 3 of those breaths. Breathing in belly, ribs. Exhale completely. Draw the diaphragm up. And then release. Let the ball sink in a little deeper. Breathe in belly, ribs. Hold the breath. Exhale completely. Diaphragm under the ribs. Exhale, let the ball go deeper. Imagine, visualize it touching the spine. Last one, breathe in belly and ribs. Exhale, ribs, belly, hold the breath, zip the diaphragm up. Exhale, release. Let's add the shoulders. So the top arm reaches beyond the fingertips, and then you slide it back. And just do that a total of 3 times. And again, you're welcome to stay with this if the full circles bother your shoulder. And you might want to get rid of the block at this point too. The block under your head, you might not need it. You might want to imagine that you're doing this in water. Just a nice fluid movement here. After the 3rd round, just take a pause. And now we're going to roll belly down. And if you just ate, you may want to either let some air out of, so I'm just on the top of the sternum. I want to get right where the top of the diaphragm is, the bottom of the diaphragm, because as I mentioned, the fascia of the psoas connects all the way up. So if we're having trouble with the psoas, we're working on releasing, the fascia is connected throughout the body. So you're here. Now, again, if it's too much here on the stomach, you could take it, up to the chest area. We'll start on our forearms. Breathe in belly, ribs. Exhale completely. Draw the diaphragm up. And then exhale. Now, if you can release down, forehead to your hands or blocks, we'll do 2 more breaths. Breathe in belly, ribs. Exhale completely, diaphragm under the ribs. One more time, breathe in belly, ribs. Exhale completely, diaphragm under the ribs. And inhale. And now come up on your forearms, and we're just gonna, this is just sort of intuitive movement, just rolling side to side here. Sometimes it's helpful to let the knees bend. And this can feel pretty nice on the hips. Maybe you take it onto the side body, you kind of roll over. So if you've ever done any of those funky little trance dances. And you could stay here, or you could move up just under the collarbones, because the ribs, the lungs go all the way up here. And this can feel pretty nice, getting right underneath the armpit. We've got a lot of lymph nodes. And since I've been doing this, I just felt a lot more range of motion in my shoulders. Just a couple more breaths. Making sure you continue to breathe through this. And then we're gonna just roll onto our backs. You can remove the ball. And let's just take a couple of breaths here. Scanning the body, noticing if there's any difference. Maybe in how the shoulders connect to the floor. Maybe how the breath fills up the ribs. Maybe how the hips connect to the floor. And when you're ready, draw the right knee in, clasping behind the thigh, and just extend and bend that right leg. Nice little wake up for the hamstring. And pause here, extend the left leg long. Flex the left foot. Press the back of the right leg into the hands. Let the hands press into the back of the leg. Try to relax the shoulders, relax the face. And when you're ready, let this right leg come across the body. I like to have the ball here so that the knee lands on the ball. And you could even do just sort of a little soft rollout underneath the outside of the knee. That's totally optional. Or you could just rest in stillness. Again, notice how this twist feels. It's pretty early in our practice, but we did a lot of release along the rib cage. Now inhale back to center. You hug the right knee in. And we'll come into a half happy baby. So you could grab, the inside of that right knee, or maybe if you can reach the foot and keep the hip on the ground. The foot is flexed. Just take a couple of breaths. Back to center, give that knee a little hug before you send it long. Take a full body stretch. And then draw the left knee in, clasping behind the thigh. Press the back of the thigh into the hands and the hands into the thigh. Remember those deep, deep belly breaths. In and out through the nose if you can. And let's just extend and bend that left leg. You might want to add a little flex of the foot also. Gives you a nice stretch along the arch. And then pause here. You can take that left leg across the body into your spinal twist. And maybe you let the ball go under the knee and just sort of roll out the leg. Or maybe you find stillness. All right, come back to center. Give the knee a little hug. Extend the leg long. Now walk both legs over to the left. Grab the right wrist and stretch to the left. Now, can you keep both hips on the ground? Can you keep both shoulders on the ground? And then walk back through center. Walk the legs over to the right. Grab the left wrist and you stretch up, 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 and over. And you keep the shoulder on the ground and the hip on the ground. You might find that you arch much less when you do it that way. And we're looking for length along the left side and not crunching on the right. Come back to your center. Let's hug both knees in and just make some circles. Oh, I think I forgot to do half happy baby on the other side. So let's do that. Extend the right leg. Come into half happy baby on the left side. And this can be interesting to notice the difference in the two sides. So you can breathe and relax, and remember you can hold the inner thigh. You could also use a strap here because we don't want to create tension in the shoulder trying to reach the foot. And release that. Hug the knees in and this time circle away from each other. Take it in the other direction. And then pause, extend the legs up, extend the arms and circle out the wrists. Reverse direction. Pause. And then we're just going to come up to seated and set up for that high inner thigh. Now this one might take a little bit setting up here. We'll just do a quick little exploration to see. So you're going to use a block. The ball's going to go on the block, and you're going to drape the top leg over. Now, if you're, suffering from some acute discomfort, you may want to just stay here, contract, and relax. And we're just going to take a few points along the inner thigh here. So you can start closest to the knee, and if you can relax your head down, you breathe, can lift the leg off the floor, contract, and lower. Actually, lift the foot, not the leg. So when you lift the foot, you contract and then soften. So since this is new, I just want to do a little check-in. Does anyone have any questions with this? You can unmute, that might be easier.
Can you show that again?
Sure. So the ball is going, we're going to go along the inner thigh. We're going to do 3 points. So I'm closest to the knee. You can see this. Should get a closest to the knee. And then I'm going to move here, and then I'm going to move here. You want to avoid any sharp stinging pain. So then I have my block. I've got it at the second height. Maybe you have it at the lower height based on the sensation. My bottom leg, my right leg is straight. My left leg, I'm draping over. And you could stay upright on your form. Does that make sense, Dee Dee?
I think so. Yeah.
So do you feel something there? So we're doing just so you don't even have to contract and relax. You can just breathe here. You don't have to intensify. If you can drop down, it's more comfortable. If you can find a place to rest your head. Now you could also do little rolls here. So if the contract and relax feels okay, you could do a little roll.
And the contract and relax
Okay,
is
so the contract and relax. If you lift your foot up and then contract your thigh,
oh, okay.
what's that?
Got it.
So lift. So when you lift the foot, it does engage a little bit and then soften. So all of this, this can be a rather sensitive area and it can be very tight. And what you might notice is, let's just move up a point, that having this ball on this point, you might feel some radiating sensation. As long as it's not tingly or sharp, it might be a little uncomfortable because it's tight. You can try, again, lift up, contract, and then relax. All right, and then we'll just go up to the next point, just a little bit higher. I mean, you can go as high as it feels comfortable here. I think, Barbara, if this higher one feels comfortable, this might be a good area for you. Again, just be mindful of, tingling or sharp sensations. So once again, you can lift the foot, contract, and then relax. And you could also do just a little roll out here, just a little hip rolling back and forth. And then we're just going to roll onto our backs for a moment and just check in with the 2 legs. And I want to just see, do you notice a difference in the 2 legs?
Yeah.
Does it feel good?
Yeah.
So, what I have found is similar. I think a lot of times when we're doing those abductors and adductors, this inner thigh area is an area that we're just setting up on the other side, is an area that's weak, tight and weak for many people. And I was getting a lot of pain right in the hip joint. And I found when I did this, it went away. Because, you know, the inner thigh, and then when you start getting into the pelvic area, there's a lot of nerves and there's a lot of stuff connected. So this is one area where a lot of times where you're feeling the discomfort is not where it's coming from. So we're on the first point, and just, again, you can try the contract, relax, just do what feels, what feels good for you. You could even do some circles here if that feels right. Make sure you're breathing. When you hold your breath, the muscles contract and are less likely to release their holding patterns. And just move up to the next spot. And then we'll go to the inner thigh. And you might find that as you get to other spots in the leg, maybe you need to adjust the block area. So now we have made our way up to the high inner thigh. You can do a little rollout. You could lay here and breathe. So we have many layers of fascia. We have the superficial fascia, the deep fascia. So just resting, not moving, breathing. We're working on the superficial layer. When we start to do, you know, some of this movement, we're getting a little bit deeper. And one is not better to work on than the other. Kind of depends on what's going on with you. So just a couple more breaths here. And then when you're ready, let's release that. Come onto your back. And do another check-in. And then when you're ready, let's come on up to standing. So we have a little bit of time to get some flow going. Some sequencing. So any comments on that? So we'll come to the end of the mat. Just grab one of your balls. We'll just do a really quick roll out of our feet. I found that makes a big difference in my flow anyways. So we'll just start, this will, again, will be just sort of freestyle. We'll start with it under the ball of the foot. Just a little, couple of presses, big toe, little toe. And then just let the ball roll along the outer arch, inner arch. We're just trying to stimulate the awareness. So not only are we releasing the fascia, but we're just establishing this, you know, sort of mind-body connection with the sole of our feet. And then we'll go to the other side. Just express little foot rollout. So this is a really nice thing to do. You know, just if you have a minute or two during the day, and you could certainly do it while you're seated. You know, if you're waiting on hold on the phone or something, just roll out your feet. All right. So release that. And we'll start our first series with Warrior One. So standing at the edge of your mat. More. Checking your alignment. Starting with the feet, both feet facing straight forward. Let's lift the toes, spread them wide. Lower the pinky toe. And then slowly making your way to the big toe. Inhale, reach the arms up. Gentle back bend. And then exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs and lengthen your spine. Gazes forward. Inhale, chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale up, gentle back. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. Step the left leg back for Warrior One. The back foot is turned out slightly. Feeling that stretch in the front of the left psoas. Straighten the right knee and then bend it. As you add the arms, try to keep the ribs from splaying apart. And now you're going to straighten the knee, lower the arms. Inhale, arms rise, knee bends. And just flow with your breath 2 more times. Next time you're in Warrior One, pause here. On your exhale, hands come to the blocks, or maybe a chair if the blocks are too far down. Lift the back leg up. Level off the hips. Inhale, bring the right knee into the ribs. You're just sort of coiling in. Maybe you drop your nose towards your knee. And then extend it straight back 2 more times. Inhale, bring that knee in towards the nose. Extend it back. Inhale. And extend. Lower the left leg to meet the right. Inhale, rise. Gentle back bend. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. Step the right leg back for warrior one. Straighten the front knee. And then bend it. Arms rise up. Keep the ribs drawing towards each other. And then straighten the leg, lower the arms. Bend the knee, arms rise up. Just 2 more times like this. Just being mindful not to overstretch that psoas. Err on the side of less. Pause here. Lower the hands. Float the back leg up. Inhale, draw the knee in. Exhale, extend it out. 2 more times. Pause after the third. Lower the right leg to meet the left. Inhale, rise. Gentle back. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs on your inhale. Next inhale, chair pose. Utkatasana. Inhale, rise. Gentle back. Pause here. On your exhale, arch to the left. Try to keep the arms of equal space to the ear. There's a tendency for that left arm to drop down. Keep it up, framing the ear. Press into the outside of that right foot. Inhale back to center. Exhale, arch to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs. Left leg steps back, warrior one. 3 times, straighten and lower, and bend and reach. Pause after the third one. Flip the left palm up to the ceiling and grab the wrist with the right hand. And then stretch to the right. Maybe you look up underneath that left arm. Inhale back to center. Release the hands. On your exhale, reach the arms and torso forward. Maybe float the back leg up. And then step to the front of the mat. Nice. Let's do the other side. Inhale, reach up, gentle back. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. On your exhale, right leg steps back, warrior one. Just notice how the ribs and the torso feels after the rollout. Maybe you notice a difference, maybe not. 3 times. Straighten and lower the arms. Bend and reach. Just flow with your breath. Let your breath set your pace. And then you pause, flip the right palm up to the ceiling, grab the wrist, stretch to the left. Think about inviting space in between the lower right rib and that hip. Inhale back to the center, separate the hands. On your exhale, reach the hands, the torso forward. Shift the weight to the front leg. Maybe you lift that back leg up. And then come to the front of your space. All right, last sequence. Inhale, rise. Gentle back bend. Open up the front of the body. And then exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. Left leg steps back, rise to your warrior two. So you're welcome to do the straighten the knee and lower the arms. Or the full torso, arms reach back, engage the core, level off the hips. And then inhale, rise. So 3 times. Choosing the variation that works for you. And we'll meet up in warrior one. Step the back foot up to meet the front. Inhale, rise, gentle back bend. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. Right leg steps back, warrior one. Choose the flow 3 times. Just notice if there's any holding patterns, maybe in the neck or the shoulder or the jaw. And we'll meet up in warrior one. And step forward, release. All right, how's everybody doing? All right, so we'll move on to another sequence. Inhale, rise, gentle back bend. On your exhale, fold halfway. Inhale, press into the legs, nice long spine. Next inhale, chair pose. So this is a balance sequence. I should have said you could be close to a wall if you wanted to. You could keep your hands on your hips or arms could come above. It's going to be a little trickier with arms above. Shift your weight to your right foot. So you come onto the ball of the left foot. And see if you can lift the left foot off the ground. And straighten the right leg as you lift the left knee up towards the ribs. And then maybe you stretch it back into your warrior three. And then come to standing. All right, let's do the other side. Inhale, reach, gentle back bend. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. Inhale, chair pose. Weight on the left foot. You come onto the ball of the right. So you could stay right here. You could begin to float to the right foot off the floor. And you could just kind of tap and lift. Maybe you straighten the left knee. Draw the right knee up towards the ribs. Maybe you extend it back. Arms could reach back or forward. Reaching forward is going to be a little bit more challenging. And then come to the front of your space. All right. Inhale, reach, gentle back bend. On your exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. Now let's step the right leg back for warrior two. Right, so this is a big inner thigh stretch, so just make sure this doesn't feel like too much. Again, you want to be mindful of any tingling or sharp sensation. And then just straighten the front knee and bend it. Inhale the arms through the center, open them up into your warrior two. Let's flow in and out 3 times. Be mindful of how that front knee is tracking. And then pause. Flip the left palm up in reverse, so you're reaching back. Now engage the core. Inhale through center and come into your side angle. Again, imagine you're in water. Inhale, using the core, press through the feet, reverse. Engage the core, come through your warrior two, into side angle. Just one more time. Inhale through the center, reverse. Inhale, side angle. And meet up in warrior two. Nice, let's lengthen the front leg, hands go onto the hips. Taking your hand either to the inside or outside. Try the outside, see how that works. A block is really nice here. Hug the legs into the midline. And then imagine you're stretching your yoga mat. Maybe you extend that right arm up. And just imagine this is a stretch. You could also put that left hand on a chair. And then a little soft bend in the knee brings you up and reverse. Inhale through your warrior two. Keep going. Hands come to the blocks. And then you step the back leg up to meet the front leg. Let's take the other side. Inhale, rise. Gentle back bend. On your exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice long spine. And then step that left leg back, warrior two. We start just with the legs. Straighten the front knee. And then bend it. Arms in the center, reach up, stretch. Open into your warrior two. 3 rounds of flow. Straighten and reach. Bend and lower. And just do this at your pace. Meet up in warrior two. Flip the front palm and reverse. So again, we've done a lot of stretching here of the side body. And then using the core, inhale, flow through center, take a side angle. So being careful not to collapse on the right side of the body. Inhale through center and reverse. Inhale through center, side angle. Inhale through center, reverse. Last side angle. We'll meet up in warrior two. Straightening the front knee. Taking your hand, you can also stack your blocks also. I should have said that. Having your right hand to the outside of the leg. And get that rotation on the spine. Spine is long. Maybe the left arm extends up. Imagine you're just relaxing against a wall. And then slight bend in the front knee, you rise up. Go through warrior two to the front of your mat. Inhale, rise. And gentle back bend. Exhale, palms come down to the center of your chest. We'll take a little sequence to the floor. Inhale, reach up, gentle back bend. On your exhale. Halfway. And the knees bent, lower the hands to the floor. Step back to table. Toes curl under. Let's press up into our first downward dog. Took us a while to get here. Pedal out the legs. Just use this pose to find space where you need it. Maybe that's in the calves, maybe it's in the soles of the feet. And lower the knees down. And grab your inflatable ball. And we'll do some belly down back strengthening. So the ball's going to go just under the sternum, where we were before. So just under the collarbones. And if you can rest your head on your hands. Just take a couple of deep breaths. And then with your awareness on the left leg, you're going to press into the foot. You're going to really activate that left leg. Now, the right leg extends long and then lift it up. So that left leg, you're pressing it down, that's your support, and it allows the right leg to lift up. Now, hands rest on the forehead. Maybe you lift the forehead and hands up together. And then you lower down. Press into the right foot. The whole right leg is engaged. Can you feel it engaged all the way up to the rib cage? And then the left leg gets light, it floats up. Maybe you add the head and arms. And you lower down. So we'll do 2 more times, a little bit of a flow. Press into the left foot, float the right leg, maybe head and hands. Lower down. Inhale, other side. Lower down. Be mindful there's no pinching in the lower back. Lift up. If there's pinching, you need more length and less height. Other side. And then lower down. Let's just let the knees bend and the legs flow like windshield wipers. And you can let the ball roll across the pecs. Those can get really tight. Just do a little bit of a roll out and our lungs come all the way up here. So this can be a nice way to decongest the lungs. And when you're ready, we'll roll on to our backs. Your inflatable ball. We'll take this underneath the lower back. Now, you could also do this with a block, The block is going to offer you more stability. Using this inflatable ball, those core stabilizing muscles are going to have to work a lot harder, which may make it really challenging just to balance. So if you find this really challenging, once we lift our legs up, you could switch to a block. You can grab the outside edges of your mat with one leg and then the other. Here's where we start the balance. And you might find that you need to slightly adjust where the ball is. And then you extend your legs up to the ceiling. So this is where you might decide, whoops, I'm going to use a block. Right leg very active, flexed, stretching up to the ceiling. Core is engaged. Lower the right leg long. Think about stretching that psoas muscle. Inhale, draw that left leg up. And then just pause. Notice if you want to switch to the block. We'll do a total of 3 on each side. Flex the left foot. You're pressing it up to the ceiling. Point the right leg lower down. Stretch that psoas out. Inhale, rise. We'll do the other side. Now, be mindful that there's no uncomfortable sensation along the psoas. Again, around the front of the hip. No pinching. So just flow with your breath here. Going side to side with your breath. Now, obviously, there's a bit of core here. But we're also trying to find some lengthening in that psoas. And when you've done both sides 3 times, just pause with the legs up towards the ceiling. Bend both knees. Lower down one at a time. And then just a little swish, swish of the hip side to side. Just kind of releasing the lower back. And we'll remove the ball from underneath. Slowly lower the hips down. Draw the right leg in, extend the left leg long. Just some gentle rocking side to side. When you're ready, let that right leg come across the body. Again, you could have your ball to catch the knee if you like. And maybe just notice how this twist feels compared to a little bit earlier in your practice. Now, can you try that diaphragm breath that we did here in this twist, where you breathe into the belly and ribs. Exhale completely, and then draw the diaphragm up onto the ribs. Breathe in. Exhale. Diaphragm zips up. Breathe in. Exhale. The diaphragm zips up. And exhale, relax. And come back to center. And get a little hug. Extend the right leg long, arms reach overhead, nice full body stretch. And draw the left leg in, gentle rocking side to side. And left knee comes across the body to your spinal twist. We'll just settle in here for a couple of breaths before we do 3 rounds of that diaphragm breath. When you're ready, breathe in belly, ribs. Exhale, diaphragm underneath the ribs. Breathe in belly, ribs. Exhale, lift the diaphragm. Breathe in. Exhale. And breathe in. Enjoy a couple of breaths here. Come back to center, give the knee a little hug. Extend the left leg long, full body stretch. All right, so one last little roll out. You've got 2 balls. You use 2 balls and the inflatable. So the 2 balls are going to go just on the top. Yeah, you want to find some meat there. And the ball goes underneath your sacrum. So it looks something like this. And sometimes it's easier to move your body than move the balls. So basically you want the balls to be somewhere where they feel good. And then you can just make some shoulder circles. Again, this is just sort of free form. And you could gently just slide up and down with your hips on the inflatable ball. Sometimes you have to watch out for your hair getting stuck. So just let the balls go where they feel most needed. And we'll just take a couple of breaths here. So hopefully this is sort of helping to wind down the nervous system. So if the sensations are too much, then, we don't want to be doing that, especially at this part of the practice when we're trying to coax our body into relaxation. Now, the other option you could do, especially if you just felt sort of overall stiffness on the lower back, is you can get rid of these balls. And you could just, again, the hair is the problem here. You could just sort of roll the inflatable along the spine, wherever your discomfort is on the spine. And just take a couple more moments and then we'll transition to our final pose of Shavasana. And if there's something that you feel would help you with your transition to Shavasana better, then take a couple of moments there. And then as you transition to final relaxation, allowing your attention to be directed towards your physical body and how it connects to the floor underneath you. You can start by just letting the head gently flow from side to side, noticing how the neck feels. And then letting your attention travel to the shoulders, comparing right and left, maybe making any adjustments so that the shoulders can surrender to the floor. And then let your attention travel to the ribs. Notice left and right, to the two sides of the ribs. Connect in the same way to the floor. And traveling down to the lower back. Just noticing how the lower back feels. Whether it might be beneficial to have something underneath the knees. If the lower back feels like it's arching too much, there's a little bit too much of a strain, having a soft bend in the knees, a supported soft bend in the knees can sometimes bring some ease. Notice the hips. Are they both able to settle into the floor? Allowing the legs to relax. Feel nice and heavy. And using this time to allow your body and mind to integrate all the movements and novelty of this practice. Allow your next breath to be a little bit longer, a little bit deeper. When you're ready, invite gentle movements. And then slowly transitioning to your side. Taking a moment of pause and reflection. Gratitude for your body and all it does for you, day in and day out. When you're ready, you can make your way up to seated.
If you'd like to join me in a chant of Om, take a deep breath in. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. It was great to see you. Let me just stop the recording.